Here we go. Back at it again. Another lesson through Spirit and Power Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Before we start off, I want to give all praise, honor, infinite glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakak, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, the Ruwa that teach what it tells us truth, and a hearty shalom to all the Akim, the Akwa tuning in. Shalom, shalom. All right, we did it again. You can clearly see, through the spirit what times we in. All right, what's about to take off, according to prophecy, according to, everything that's playing out behind the scenes. You can clearly see, that we at that time. All right, so if you didn't know, Cuba is over there experiencing blackouts. All right, we had it was a big fire downtown in New York. A so-called meteor. All these different things are signs that Yahweh Shai is coming back. All right, so I'm gonna get into this scripture going into the prophecies of what's going down. All right, so we're gonna go straight to second address. Let's get that. All right. So the second address, chapter 15, and we're gonna get it from 11. It says, "But I will bring them with a mighty hand." All right, that mighty hand is Yahweh Shai. All right, a stretched out arm, and to smite Egypt with plagues as before, destroy all the land thereof. So the Lord is about to smite Egypt, Egypt 2.0. All right, Babylon the Great. All right, America. All right, with plagues in other countries. All right, so it says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. All right, so the Lord's about to hit this place with all different type of plagues, all different type of things, famines, earthquakes, what's another one? Tsunami, blizzards, storms, all these different things are signs that Yahweh Shai is away. All right. It says, "They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail with the fearful constellation." So everything you plant, everything you try to set up, everything you try to build on this side is just going to be for naught. All right. So yeah, all hell is about to break loose to this society. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Woe goes into destruction." It says, "For the sword," all right, the nuclear missiles, "and their destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up and fight against another." Talk about civil war, race wars, gang wars, right? The all hell breaking loose, Jacob's trouble, and swords in their hands. So people are going to be running around with guns, all right? "For there shall be addition among men, uprisings, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes." They're going to be breaking and entering each other's houses. There's not going to be no police force. Ain't going to be no president tell you what to do, governor tell you what to do. It's going to be all utter chaos. All right. "And the course of their actions shall stand in their power." All right. So every man himself, basically. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of the pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed. Men shall be afraid." So it's going to be so crazy out here that they're going to have to call martial law, which is going to cause shutdowns, checkpoints, throughout various parts of the city. "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their house with the sword, a gun." And then it says, "Because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." So that's what's coming to this society. All right, so let's get straight into it. Let's play some videos.
If you're attending Rodeo Houston, the fashion is one of the first things you'll notice inside the gates. But the fashion has evolved over time. Some attendees say for the worse. Rodeo CEO and President Chris Bowman says after a spike in feedback on clothing choice, they decided to listen and updated their dress code.
I think it's about making sure your skin is covered to some, to a great extent, making sure what you put on as you think about a 9 or 8 year old looking at you, would it be appropriate? Would they be asking questions?
New rodeo guidelines say they can deny admission or remove people wearing clothing obscene images and language, excessively torn clothes, visible undergarments, or clothing that exposes portions of skin that may be considered inappropriate for a family environment. Bowman says what is and isn't appropriate is subjective. Neona Graves with Texas Southern University says subjective rules.
All right, so this is Psalms 44:12. Thou holdest thy people for naught, and does not increase thy wealth by their price. Thou makest us a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn, a derision to them that are round about us. Thou makest us a byword among the heathen, a shaking of the head among the people. All right. So literally, when you see our people, a lot of our women usually got all type of, body parts showing. They wear these tight, things. They wear all this makeup, all this, fake hair, all this stuff. That makes us a shaking of the head, man. That's already one of the curses anyway. We become a byword to these nations. They see us and they despise us. That's why they put up these different rules and regulations. Because Eve, even some of you Jakes, man, you be out there with revealing clothing. All right, and that's off. So this is Ezekiel chapter 24, and we're going to get it from 9. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, woe to the bloody city. I will even make the power for fire great. All right, so the bloody city. America is a bloody nation, a bloody country. All right, this place is built on the blood, sweat, and tears of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. So Lord said he's going to destroy this place, man. Heap on wood, kindle the fire, consume the flesh, spice it well, and let the bones be burned. Then set it empty upon the coals thereof, that the brass of it may be hot and may burn, and that the filthiness of it may be molten in it, that the scum of it may be consumed. She hath withered herself with lies, and her great scum went not forth out of her. Her scum shall be in the fire. Ooh-wee! And the filthiness is lewdness, because I have purged thee, and thou was not purged. Thou shalt not be purged from thy filthiness anymore till I have consumed my fury to rest upon thee. So the Lord's going to destroy America, man. All right, according to Bible prophecy. Let's keep going. All right, this is Matthew chapter 16:3. It says, in the morning, matter of fact, let's start it from 1. It says, the Pharisees also with the Sadducees came and tempted, desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. In the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowing. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but can you not discern the signs of the times? So literally, look up at the skies. You can look up at the things that's happening around the world. All right, just like when you look up at the sky, oh, it's about to rain. Oh, it's about to snow. You should be able to see the for signs of, the MOTB, Jacob's trouble, World War III. You should see these signs and know that Yahweh Shai is on the way. Now is the time to repent. Now is the time to pray. Now is the time to seek redemption. Because right now you're seeing meteors, but soon you're going to be seeing missiles from China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. All different countries are prophesied to hit the button according to Bible prophecy. A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas, and he left them and departed. So it's over, man. Soon the prophecy is going to be gone, and people are going to be bugging the hell out for this.
Garcia is fighting for her life at this hospital in Havana. The mother of 2 young boys has leukemia. Administering what in most places would be routine cancer treatments is almost impossible here. Garcia lives about 20 miles away from the hospital, too far to walk. She tells me without fuel or affordable transportation, life only got harder. We are fighting every day, she says. My biggest fear is going to bed and not waking up next morning. This is a supply room where all of the medicine is stored, but power can go up for up to 8 hours at a time, which is enough to make the refrigerated medication spoil. They've had to come up with other ways to keep it cold.
You try to save it.
Of course.
Doctors here say across the country, people are dying because of the fuel crisis. So far, they tell me this hospital has been lucky. Yet Cola's 11-year-old son got here today in an ambulance. She says she feels grateful for that, as transportation is so scarce.
Ambulances not on the road are in places just like this one. Some broken, some in need of repair, others just in need of gas. That's so hard to come by.
In fact, 300 ambulances are sitting idle. There are only 25 being used for the entire country, all electric. Everywhere you turn, Cubans are sleeping. The streets have been dark and homes dangerously hot. Garbage is piling up on every street corner. Yonelkis Polo Garcia is...
Oh my gosh, what is happening? Oh my god.
Hey! Hey!
You're gonna see more shootouts. You're gonna see more people, going crazy. You're gonna see more people bucking up. All right. Let me see if I can grab this real quick before we continue with the Cuba darkness. This is Matthew 24:12, and because equity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So people are gonna get more grimy, more sadistic, more evil. All right, let's get this.
The entire electrical grid collapsing today as the country struggles with an energy crisis, leaving millions on the island without power.
During this latest blackout, people have been spilling out to the streets here for hours. Fortunately, some cloud cover keep them from this blistering heat.
It's been 3 months since a drop of oil has reached the country. Highways are empty because there's no gas. Women are delivering babies in dark hospitals with no electricity. Conditions are deteriorating. I sat down exclusively with Deputy Prime Minister Oscar Perez Oliva Fraga, considered by many to be Cuba's economic czar. His plan to attract more foreign investors, including companies from the United States. He says Cuba is open to having a fluid commercial relationship with U.S. companies, with Cubans residing in the United States and their descendants. While there are people in the United States who legally do business with Cuba, Washington's trade embargo restricts many companies from doing authorized business there. Today, Cuban-American activists in Miami came together to send a message.
If we don't have any change in political rights, don't have any political guarantees, there's no economic change that's possible.
Freedom is to be able to choose your destiny. It's about Cuban sovereignty, not about business.
Cuba is in the dark. The entire electrical grid collapsing.
I know gas is expensive right now, but is anybody else realizing that their gas is going quicker? And I don't mean because it's more expensive. Hold on. I mean, literally. I put 93 in this bitch. 93. And it's not doing what it used to do. Let me
The White House used a drag.
Magic Johnson's son claims that he is only attracted to straight men. Someday Magic Johnson will be held accountable. I'm not understanding. He says that because he's only attracted to straight men, he doesn't go to gay bars or go to gay events because what he's attracted to isn't there. And also, he only attracts straight men. Doing everything but going to play basketball for the NBA.
All right, this is Leviticus 20:13. If a man also lie with mankind as he lied with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They should surely be put to death, and their blood should be upon them. So you're not supposed to be a man lying down with another man because that's an abomination. All right, and according to the Bible, you're supposed to be put to death. All right, let's get another scripture going into that. All right, this is 1 Corinthians 6:9. Know ye not that unrighteousness will not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh? But Hashem Yahushai, be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves, mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of God. So, that's totally off, man. It's totally off. Let's finish with this.
You can see there are some lights on. Some of my neighbors have batteries that they charge up during the day, other generators and some fuel stocked up. And so you might see a few lights in the night sky, but the majority of Cubans are without power at this moment. And that's really concerning because the longer this island-wide blackout goes on, the more desperate the situation gets for people.
No hay apagón nada más, no hay agua, no hay electricidad, no hay comida, no hay petróleo, no hay combustible, las MIPIMES con los precios caros y todo esto está malísimo.
The collapse of the entire electric grid is really significant because since there's been an oil embargo starting in January with the U.S. attack on Venezuela, we haven't had oil come into this island months, according to Cuban officials. And this is the first time, though, we've seen the entire grid go down, and it'll probably take hours, if not days, for it to come back on. And in that time, people's gasoline, people's batteries are going to run out, and the situation is just going to get worse and worse for people.
All right, so this is Exodus chapter 10, verse 21. It says, darkness over the land. And the Lord, Yahweh said unto Moses, stretch out thy hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And this was the plagues, all right? Darkness, blackouts, power collapsing, total darkness. And Moses stretched out forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. So just like the Lord did with the Egypt in Africa, he's going to do with the modern day Egypt. Okay? They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwelling. All right? So you see it, man. All right? Let's keep going.
A robot at a hot pot restaurant in California designed to help out staff members went out of control.
Like we're going to turn up. All right? Let's believe it.
Staff members eventually.
As there was just a shooting at the Santa Monica Pier. Me and my family, we just got out. We captured this video of some of our friends playing some games, and we actually captured shooting. It was crazy.
Trump doesn't want you to know this, but the US is getting worried about this Iran war. Not so much about the military is okay, but the energy, which could soon become an energy crisis. 20% of the world's energy still blocked as we enter week 3, blocked to US and Israel allies. And all signs are showing that Trump does not yet know how to reopen it. So now, the president is asking other countries to help him open it. Send your ships, he said earlier today. Let's make this a team effort. You may be surprised or not to learn that many countries just had no appetite for this war. So Trump took it up to the next level. He decided to demand rather than ask other countries for help. He said, I'm demanding that these countries come in and protect their own territory because it is their territory.
Trump just lashed out at every single one of our allies inside of NATO on Truth Social, saying, quote, we do not need the help of anyone. This was a message that was quite extensive and essentially says that the United States right now is doing everything in Iran by themselves because we don't need anyone else. Reading in full, it says, the United States has been informed by most of our NATO allies, and he said allies in quotes, that they don't want to get involved with our military operation against the terrorist regime of Iran in the Middle East. This despite the fact that almost every country strongly agreed with what we're doing and that Iran cannot in any way, shape, or form be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. I am not surprised by their action, however, because I always consider NATO, where we spend hundreds of billions of dollars per year protecting the same countries, to be a one-way street. We will protect them, but they will do nothing for us, in particular in a time of need. Fortunately, we have decimated Iran's military, their navy's gone, their air force gone, their anti-aircraft and radar is gone, and perhaps most importantly, their leaders at virtually every level are gone, never to threaten us, our Middle Eastern allies, or the world again. Because of the fact that we have such military success, we no longer need or desire a NATO country assistance. We never did. Likewise, Japan, Australia, or South Korea. In fact, speaking as President of the United States of America, by far the most powerful country anywhere in the world, we do not need the help of anyone. So we're clear, NATO is not an offensive alliance. It is a military alliance, essentially for countries to stand strong together. The most important part of NATO is if a country gets attacked, they're able to go ahead and put together, whether the resources, whatever, to respond. That's actually the Article 5 you always know about. There's only been one time in ever history that Article 5 had been used. That was after the 9/11 attacks, where the United States called up NATO to say, hey, we need help here. Every single country stood up. But in this circumstance, in which the United States decided to attack Iran, that is no longer a NATO situation. Though I do need to add that NATO is involved, mostly because they need intelligence, peer into the country to see how things are going, and they're also protecting NATO countries, such, for example, Turkey, who had 3 ballistic missiles shot at it, and so...
Hey, yo, not only are the gas prices high, but this gas is burning fast as shit. Y'all ain't slick. Like, I can tell my gas is going fucking way faster than it ever has before. You going to charge motherfucker almost $4 a gallon? Hey, yo, not only are the gas...
Doesn't seem active in the child's life because of his disability. My son does not have a disability. He is developing at his own pace and hitting his milestones in his own timing. Every child is different, and I'm confident in his growth. If I said it, he had a disability, then he... But it's like, I ain't saying not even just that. It's like saying if someone, a doctor, anybody speak against your kid or yourself, then you should not accept it, bro. Anybody, if they're guessing or whatever, the word said what the word said. God said what the...
I want to start this by saying I don't know if their son has been officially diagnosed as having a disorder, right? But it seems like based on what she said, doctor did tell her that, and she's saying that she doesn't accept that. What I want you guys to know is if a doctor tells you that your son is disabled and your kid in general is disabled, and you're not taking the necessary steps and precautions and actions to deal with a disabled child, to care for a disabled child, and learn about how to work through parenting a disabled child, that is a form of abuse. That is a form of abuse. I think we need to clarify that. All jokes aside, and I know people want to joke about Krishan and Blueface and, you know, whatever took place between them and this, that, and the third, and, you know, I don't bring it into stuff like that. But if a doctor told you that your kid is disabled and your child has development issues and is not as developing as fast as they should be for a child age, you're saying, no, I don't believe you. I'm listening to God. And when my kid does get it together and start walking and talking, it's going to be aha, all in your face. That is a form of abuse. Nothing more, nothing less. Abuse. You feel me? I don't know if she's going through a just psychosis thing or whatever the case may be. That is legit not how disabilities work, gang. You feel me? I don't think it was cool when people like that. People thought it was entertaining to watch you drink, smoke while you were pregnant and all that stuff on TV. I saw the kid, and when people were saying that he might have the developmental issue.
Again, it's a lot of women like Krayshawn that's totally bugged out, man. You know, they live this party lifestyle where they're drinking, smoking, partying while they're pregnant, you know, and the kids come out like that, man. You know, that's why these women are just wicked, man. Like, it's, you know, if you find a woman cool, whatever, but for the most part, all these women are just completely wicked, man. All right? Like, it's over. Let me see if I can grab this. Proverbs 14:1, every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish pluck it down with her hands. So a wise woman is going to try to build her house. She's going to try to apply pressure, you know, to make her man happy, make her children happy, to add to the home. All right, but only a foolish woman will, you know, destroy her household, leave her man, abandon her children, go seek new partners, go to seek to build somewhere else. Only a foolish woman would do that, and society proves that, 89% of these women are through, Look at this.
The strikes today. This comes as the United States has told all of its embassies worldwide to immediately review security following the strikes today. This drone attacks and missile attacks have been reported in Iraq alone. That was according to their own internal calculations. The State Department has ordered all U.S. posts worldwide to immediately undertake evaluation, citing the ongoing and developing situation in the Middle East and the potential for spillover effects, according to a cable sent Tuesday. That was reviewed by the Post, and it said, quote, all posts worldwide should convene emergency committees, EAC multidisciplinary teams designed to identify and plan for threats and review their, quote, security posture, signed by the Department of State Secretary Marco Rubio. The U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, was left partially unrecoverable after one drone attack this month, with parts of the roof collapsed. The United States has told all of its embassies worldwide.
The world's biggest food company wants to bail on ice cream. Nestle announced today that it's in advanced negotiations to sell its remaining ice cream business to its joint venture partner for no year. Now, Nestle says its focus will turn to coffee, pet care, nutrition, and
this is going to play into that store closure. This is what's going to play into that famine. You're going to see a lot more businesses close. You're going to see a lot more businesses shut down, go bankrupt. All right?
I'm starting to think Trump is more and more like that one Tim Robinson sketch where he crashed the hot dog car into the building. Because what do you mean? You ask other countries for help securing the Strait of Hormuz after you made the Strait of Hormuz unsecure. Like, this is literally like Trump crashing the hot dog car into the building while wearing a duck suit and saying, we need to find the motherfucker who crashed that hot dog car into the building. And it's like what everybody's been saying. Little Bitty got you high off your own supply after that illegal Venezuelan, and you thought you could invade a region that has effectively sent America's ass packing 40 times in a row. And I think the craziest fact of all of this is we asked China for help and said, who, me? Because what do you mean you asked China for help? They're the ones that needed the Iranian oil the most, and you fucked it up for them. Why would they help you? It's hard to realize that life is becoming more and more comedy and tragedy at the same time. I'm starting.
Craig, to bring those gas prices back down, President Trump needs to get Middle Eastern oil back on the global market, which means moving it through the Strait of Hormuz, which, as Richard was just discussing, Iran still effectively controls. Now, the president has turned to diplomacy, his critics say too late, asking allies in NATO, as well as countries like China and Japan, for help keeping ships safe in the strait. But so far, his coalition building has come up short as the war continues with no clear off-ramp and growing.
I don't think people understand how bad it is in Cuba right now. The entire power grid has collapsed. 11 million people in Cuba are now living under the collapse of their entire power system. Cuba's Ministry of Energy and Mines today has confirmed that the entire national power grid has in fact collapsed. Why did this happen? How did this happen? On January 29th, the president signed an executive order which imposed an energy blockade on Cuba. But it actually went further, and why this has caused the most damage is that it threatens tariffs on any other country that also provided oil to Cuba. So if China sold oil to Cuba, Russia sold oil to Cuba, they could be subject to tariffs. Cuba was for many years able to receive oil, and they were getting it from Venezuela. But the United States government obviously was involved in operation in Venezuela, so that supply and access to oil was obviously now cut off. Cuba produces about 40% of its own petroleum, but it has not received a shipment of oil in 3 months. So even as the United States is saying that we are having ongoing discussions with Cuba, their energy grid has collapsed. And you can imagine sort of things begin to happen when you don't have access to reliable power, like surgeries, school, food storage, freezers, refrigerators, all of these things. This is obviously a form of economic pressure to force something to happen in Cuba, but just like always, it is the people, the children, the families, the teachers, the people who are having their lives seriously disrupted that often suffer the most. Cuba is about 90 miles from Florida, and now 11 million people are living there with what is the collapse of the power system. Venezuela was proof of concept. The president is openly saying that he thinks Cuba will fall soon. And of course, this is happening while millions of people in the United States are now struggling with their own energy crisis in the affordability of fuel as fuel costs rise and rise and rise. In Cuba, it's lights out for 11 million people as the result of a United States executive order which cut off their fuel supply. What happens next? Well, that very much depends on who is in power. And now, who can turn the power back on?
Russia is now making fun of the United States and how they miscalculated when it comes to Iran, which is kind of ironic because the point that he's making here is something we've all made about Russia. Let me go ahead and explain. This is coming.
More than 17,000 flights were delayed or canceled on Monday. Frustrations are growing as thousands of TSA officers continue to work without pay.
The winter storm that lashed much of the country this week wreaked havoc on flyers' plans. Roughly 9,000 flights canceled and 25,000 more since Sunday, which is when Tammy Sampornero was supposed to leave Atlanta.
Today, our flight kept being delayed over and over and over. We got like 2 hours of sleep and came back, and so here we are, probably missed the next flight too.
She was greeted with TSA lines topping 2.5 hours at points Monday. Staffing shortages forced one of Atlanta's checkpoints to close. Nationally, TSA sick calls have more than tripled since the start of the partial government shutdown last month, and they're getting worse. On Friday, TSA office.
That being said, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakah, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone of Lua that teach what they tell us is truth. And a hearty shalom to all the Aki and Akwa to the man. We're willingness us was edifying. We almost out of here, man. Shalom.